Welcome back to Mexico for the Verizon post-game interview here with Armored 2-0 today. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Not too fast. It was hard games today, honestly. And when I think about the second one especially, I mean, both games, when we think of it, mid-game, what's happening for you guys? Have you been able to identify the issues you've been having?
I think we are, I think we are doing many mistakes on like pushing side lanes or not pushing, sometimes went to group and stuff, or like base timings, or even like sometimes inting team fights. I think we did a lot of mistakes. I did last game as well a lot. I mean, win is a win. I hope we will be better the next days because we didn't really play good.
Yeah, you know what, we take those, and I'm being too harsh on you. It's only the first day, and Niski was telling me earlier that you may have nerves coming in the way also. Do you agree on that? That stress may be a factor for you guys?
Not me.
No?
Maybe
Okay.
for Niski, yeah, maybe for Niski.
All right, a bit more about your preparation coming into Worlds, because when you think about the group you're in right now, it might as well be like a group stage group. How do you think you're gonna go?
How we, I mean, most likely second or third, I would say. But if we get like one win from the LPL or LCK teams, it will be crazy good. And like even if we are third, we will face the enemy group second, I assume, which will be, I think it's gonna be much easier because we don't face like really strong teams because they are already in our group.
That makes sense. We're talking about the meta and the prep and everything. It looks like top lane meta might suit you well this World. Can you tell me about the practice you've been doing with Mad Lions and how good you feel in this meta right now?
I mean, I think I find my meta because like this meta is like not known, I would say, because there is not any official games about it, and like we need to see better players than us, what they do and stuff. Like right now, you can play almost every champion, but I'm just trying to focus on myself, that what can I do my best for the team and EU. Yeah, kinda.
All right, and focusing on what's next, the next opponent for you guys is going to be RNG. Breathe. Yeah, indeed. Breathe on the top lane. Tell me about this matchup.
I mean, I believe he's pretty insane. But we will have something prepared for it as well. So I'm not that scared. I'm looking forward for it.
Super confident in you guys. Anyway, 3 wins for Europe right now. Fnatic is up next against Chief from Oceania. Any take on this matchup, and do you think we can get 4 wins?
EU's gonna get the 4th win for sure.
I love it.
For sure.
For sure. Armored, thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you so much for the interview.
Good luck tomorrow, and back to you guys in LA.
Thank you so much, Laure. Armut wasting no time with that prediction, says it will be 4 wins today for EG, as Mad Lions has already secured 2 of them. And wouldn't you know, we're halfway through our first day of play. It's moving lightning fast. I know. Stick with us. After their initial debut earlier today, Fnatic are back on the Rift, looking for that 2nd win for themselves and the 4th of the day for the LEC.
I mean, they showed up right. They had a dominant win earlier in the day. Humanoid looked good, upset, popping off. The fact that Rhuckz coming into this
slotted in,
having a great performance, just like across the board. There's really nothing bad to say about Fnatic from their last game.
Yeah, they completely dominated. I think the only fear they would have is that they let down their guard because they feel like they're playing a worst opponent. But if they just execute at the exact same level, they will have no problems in this game.
Exactly. If they can repeat what they put up earlier today, it's definitely looking like a top of the Group A for Fnatic. But let's talk about their opponents today. Our first look at Chiefs coming out of the LCO. A number of names here people are going to be familiar with. For me, Raes, Tally, and Topoon are going to be the 3 that jump out to me immediately in terms of familiarity.
Exactly. And I was talking to Rusty about this team and how they feel about Chiefs coming to internationals, because it's kind of a super team in the region. 3 of the 3 players you just mentioned going over to NA. We have Arthur in the jungle, who played on Hanwha back in LCK, and Aladoric, the support, won LCO with Peace last year. So overall, like super star-studded in terms of the experience they've been able to gather all together. And apparently with Aladoric coming in this split, it's when the team just really gelled, really worked together, only dropped 1 game in the finals, and it just completely popped off.
Yeah, and if you look year-long, they were 40 wins and 2 losses in the regular season, including 21-0 in the summer split regular season. So that 1 game was 1 game in the playoffs. Otherwise, they won 6 more. So completely dominant. But we also have to remember the distinction between LCO and OPL. Right? So the casters have said best team in LCO history, which is after the league changed with so many of their players getting picked up by North American orgs. But still, a lot of those players, like the legacy players you mentioned, were at Worlds during the OPL days.
Yeah, and so while you mentioned their incredible record, and I'm never going to say that winning a lot is a bad thing, it definitely does also make you wonder how much they've been tested regionally before they then step onto an international stage and play a team like Fnatic from a bigger region. But as we talk about legacy players, one of the members on Fnatic has some history here from formerly playing, of course, on Mad Lions. It's Humanoid here in
World's 2020 footage.
Taking a loss, though.
Look, Armit coming in saying easy 4th win for EU. I'm just saying Tally's been here before. He's already beaten Humanoid. You know, we just go off past history.
Yeah, this legacy team made it to a tiebreaker to actually straight up get out of the group. So their best of 1 performance was very strong. So that can infuse them with confidence to try and move into this group stage.
Okay, so what are the roles, what are the lanes we're focusing in on then for this LCO team in terms of attacking Fnatic?
Yeah, so I look at the solo lanes. Topoon and Tally, very effective solo lanes in the LCO. But looking at the power of Wunder and Humanoid, you just need to be able to get through the laning phase to be in a familiar situation. Because those guys never lost lane, I would say, in the LCO. There's a high chance they would lose lane to this Fnatic roster. And when we, did the jumping segment, like that's actually where the biggest gap is to me, is in how well your solo laners can just straight up stand up. This would be 2020 Worlds. And like Jensen dominated Tally in Orianna versus LeeSin, which shouldn't go that way. Impact was solo killing Topoon as Ornn against the Silas. So this is obviously cherry picking weird data because it's 2 years ago.
Right, of course.
But it was at the time very strong TL solo laners versus these two, and they don't want to have a repeat of what happened there.
Yeah, and I feel like especially, right, you see Raes' name on the roster, someone who's been around forever, like, is a standout carry, but I definitely agree on the top side point. Topoon has been like a solo kill machine this year in LCO, just absolutely gapping everyone. And then Arthur, best jungler in the region, absolute standout, super aggressive in the early game, works really well with Aladoric. So for Chiefs, they need that top side to show up strong if they want to beat Fnatic.
I'm a little mad we took those papers down off the wall. I was about to send you back over there, see if you could make up the gap.
I cramped up. Yeah, after that jumping, I can't do it again.
We've got a massage table set up in the back. Chat's getting like rolled out in between segments. Like we're gonna try to keep them healthy and safe. We talked about how Fnatic already had a hot start to the day, but I did want to give a little bit more of a specific refresher on how that game 1 for Fnatic went today. We know it resulted in a win, but we've already talked about how if they play similarly to what we saw in this game 1, we do expect another easy victory here.
It's kind of funny, right? We're talking about this matchup for the top side, specifically against how Chiefs play. But in Fnatic's earlier game, it was all about the bot lane.
True.
We saw Upset and Rhuckz just completely dominating in that 2v2. Sure, they're losing out on farm early, like the first 5 levels, but the second ults come online, they're finding those 2v2 kills. They're transferring pressure all around the map, and then the other members of Fnatic were just playing around it so well.
Yeah, and it's so much about knowing your windows. So they were down 20 CS, 30 CS, 3 plates early on, but as soon as they had the windows of Leona Ultimate against a flashless target, they started turning the lane around.
The trigger pulls from Rhuckz, right? Like, and that's
good,
that's the piece of it that I'm most impressed by. Because again, I think a lot of times when we think about somebody subbing in, especially on a stage like this, you think they're going to be gun shy. You would expect them to be gun shy because the last thing they want is to lose the game for the other 4, for the other 4 players as they're the one who's slotting in. But in this case, you're leading the charge at least half the time.
I feel like especially you pointing that out, like coming into the support role, one of the roles that have to engage, have to like work with the map, have to work with mid and top and jungle compared to like if you maybe slotted into AD carrier top and it could be a little bit easier. Just super impressive.
Now, we haven't done it so much today, but we did ask the fans at home who they thought were going to win this game here specifically. It's our MasterCard fan predictions. Let's see where people are throwing their weight. Is it a 4th win? I didn't know I was coming back on camera. Is it going to be a 4th win for the LEC? It looks like almost assuredly so. 85% of fans believe that Fnatic is going to take this one over Chiefs.
I felt like the Twitter game would be stronger for most.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man.
Raise your koalas.
It's like...
Sure, but you do understand the difference in populations of, like, the EU versus Australia, right?
That's true.
That would be my main argument, is just, like, let's add up the total populations.
They're just pretty loud on Twitter, usually.
Probably like that. They are loud.
Okay, I understand. I understand why it's 85-15.
Yeah.
I think you got me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you think, so it's always good to clarify that when we show those predictions, that is a percentage of people that are predicting the matchup, as opposed to somebody saying, I think it's 85% Fnatic weighted. Now, in this case, people, pundits, analysts might actually give that weighted percentage, but I'm basically going to ask you that question. In a prediction, what do you think the weighting is? Is it actually as stark as like an 85 to 15%
I
in terms
feel
of
like
Fnatic's
it's just
chance?
so hard. Like, had we not seen Fnatic play and already dominate, maybe I'd be like, no, because we haven't seen Chiefs yet, right?
Right.
It's like, that Fnatic win is just so fresh in my
Throw
mind.
that percentage out there.
Yeah.
What is it?
You just do that again, right?
Can I pander to O's?
You absolutely,
Yeah, do whatever
man.
you want.
Yeah, let's go
You kind of
40% for O's.
Okay, 40% for O's. All right.
85-15. I think that was actually weirdly accurate.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think it was, actually. All right, well, there's our thoughts. We'll see whether or not the LCO team in the Chiefs can surprise us here. As we throw it over to our casters, it's Quick Shot and Goldberg.
Welcome to the caster desk. My name is Quickshot. I'm joined by Goldberg, and I don't know what this atrocious thing is.
I really like it.
Mark left it. What is the story? He started talking.
He said it was called JoJo or something like that, and I really rate it. It's really cute, but he wanted to keep it as a mascot all year long or something. So I wanted to give him a little reminder as well on JoJo here as well. I think we should have a score in between our regions here. So one is EU, and the other one over here.
Wait, can you show the camera?
It's going to be N.
You are literally
here.
putting graffiti.
EU, NA, and what we're going to do right now is just we're going to leave one little tick in the beginning here, but on the EU side at least, and we're going to keep it updated on JoJo.
So
JoJo
every
got this
EU
for us.
and NA game has to be updated on this JoJo
On the bird. On JoJo, yeah.
The bird of freedom, because NA said free. Can we get rid of it? Because it's so
No.
ugly. It's so ugly.
I
Just
love it.
Go away.
I do believe that they're
Go
going to strike
away.
back, though. JoJo's going to keep
We're
score
gonna
for
leave
us, so we
JoJo-
won't forget.
We'll leave JoJo where he belongs, in the trash with the rest of that confetti. Welcome to the caster desk. We're about to jump into Chiefs taking on Fnatic. And I know the analyst desk just started to set things up. We'll talk a little bit more about Chiefs in game, as we've already seen Fnatic today. But as we're getting ready for draft, let's turn our attention there. What are you looking at? I mean, we know Arthur's the danger man, so jungle priority here?
Honestly, I kind of rate Chiefs. So from doing VOD reviews, this team just makes sense to me when they're actually playing the game. I feel like just role-based in terms of what they need to do in a team, they function really well. Arthur to me is the catalyst, and we'll dive deeper into it when we finally get into the game as well. But the jungle matchup is so pivotal. He gets so aggressive in that position on champions like the Trundle, which is still meta. Wukong is also one of his signature picks, and he's really just a great guy at driving the team forward.
And I mean, when we take a look at their, early game action, Chiefs kill to death ratio is phenomenal. They actually have the highest amount of kills pre-14 of any team here at Worlds. And take a look at the draft on your screen. Silas, Sejuani, Caitlyn, Hecarim, Draven. Now, earlier, Fnatic were on the blue side. They ran that Aatrox, Graves, Viktor, Misfortune. I want to see what will change on the red side. It's a Graves first pick.
Yeah, I genuinely just expect when you have a matchup between Arthur and Razork, then the jungle matchup is actually going to be super pivotal because they kind of function in the same way. At least in the regard that they both want to be aggressive. Arthur is facilitated a bit more by his laners than Razork really is, where Razork sometimes will have to step into a position where he's going to be the one facilitating laners as well. And we've seen the Graves before. We've seen it into Hecarim as well. This time around, it's banned out. We've seen the Trundle as well from Yoya. But another thing that's not actually banned out, and does make sense since we see the Draven ban as well, is that Kalista from Upset pairs well up with aggressive supports. And speaking of a support that was very aggressive earlier today, Rhuckz on his debut game with the Leona just had a fantastic showing.
Really, really great performance, especially for the Fnatic players who are playing with that substitute. I'm intrigued to see how well both Upset and Rhuckz are going to synergize in that lane. Obviously, a little bit more impetus on making that Kalista work than the Misfortune earlier today. We do drop out of draft once more. Can only apologize to everybody at home. It's just as frustrating for us here, but hopefully we'll get back into draft. And I mean, I think for Fnatic, were you surprised at how well they played earlier? Because I was trying to read on socials, and I think I saw a sentiment that the way in which they picked up that win against EG was shocking considering the substitute.
I mean, I think no matter what, you're going to be asking questions when you have to bring in a guy from the ERLs, but I actually think Rhuckz was a perfect guy for that position. I've cast him before when he was playing in the NLC, in Spring and Super League as well. Had a fantastic performance. I think Summer was where people started doubting them a bit because that Fnatic Academy roster started plummeting a little bit. But in terms of the role that he was put in, the fact that he was allowed to play Leona with Misfortune going through the second ban phase, you gave him his comfort. And I think coming in as a substitute, these guys have no idea who they're playing up against. And they probably will the further we get into the tournament if they decide to keep him, right? Which is probably not unlikely. But I think as a trump card, he already paid off his dividends.
Now, the question is, will Chiefs' early game aggression be able to upset the apple cart, be able to get underneath Fnatic's skin? A team that has had their ups and downs all year long. And we know how dangerous Chiefs can be, especially from the laning phase, especially if Arthur's able to get in the heads and in the faces of his opponent.
Yeah, you know, I was speaking to Rusty as well, who's an LCO caster, and he was also just talking, he was running through the entire team. We've had a conversation about how good this team actually really is from OC. At least from the LCO era, this is one of the best, if not the best team they have ever sent. And going back to your question, Arthur, of course, has a lot of pressure on him when he's going into today's game. I think he's in a position where he's actually going to pair up really well against Fnatic. And even just going further in talking about these players, he's talking about Raes. He is the heart and soul of this team when they get to a late game where they want to play for these team fights instead. He's been showing up phenomenally in the LCO as well. And even just Tally in the mid lane. We have mid laners that sometimes won't be very strong individually. And sometimes these not so strong individual players, they have two ways of playing. Either they'll just continue to try and play strong champions and they'll get outlaned, or they'll acknowledge it and they'll be like, I'm going to be a facilitator. I'm going to be in the Talia, the Galio, all of that. Tally is that kind of player. And having that kind of player when you have a jungler that wants to be aggressive just makes sense. Like when you see this team play, a word I would use to describe them would be fluid. Just due to the fact that it doesn't really feel like they have clashing styles or clashing voices. It just feels like they know what they want to do. So I actually, once again, rate Chiefs in play-ins, and I'm actually really hoping that they'll surprise a lot of people. And I've seen this on my screen a couple of times today.
Just a few times. I'm going to ask you a question, but I know you're not going to know the answer. Have you ever seen a show called Voltron? Do you know what Voltron is?
That sounds familiar, but
okay,
no.
Do you know what the Megazord is? Oh my word, I'm so old.
I feel like a Megazord, is this like Power Rangers? Is this like...
Yes! You know the way all 5 of the Zords in Power Rangers will combine to make one giant Zord?
Yeah, but listen, there's so many iterations of Power Rangers. Like, are you talking dinosaurs? Are you talking like playing cards or whatever they had? Like,
No,
you talking?
I'm going the original ones. In the first film, they fought Ivan Ooze, and they each had a different animal. Probably the early 90s. I don't think.
Great, I was not born. Perfect.
You were born yet.
Keep it going.
Basically, the point is, Exodia. You'll get that one. Chiefs are Exodia, right? They combine, they mesh. I found a reference that you children can understand.
And you know, I have a thing for the Shadow Realm as well. That's kind of the isolation chambers they're playing for every now and then as well. Yeah. So when you're not allowed to be on stage, you're back to Shadow Realm.
I've got a question. I don't know if production are going to be able to, or if they'd even like this, but could you bring Jojo back on screen for me? We'll see if
we're talking about the Eagle for
Jojo's
the
Eagle.
record.
If you've just joined us, Mark named this thing Jojo. Maybe because of how often they lose to EU. But what else can we do to this bird? Should we like think of a bet? We don't need to make it now, right? But seeing as though, you know, Gulborg decided to
maybe
draw,
feed it some Red Bull, it starts, you know,
maybe
Jojo starts performing a little better, you know? So keep it going up there.
What I'll challenge you to think about is, what can we draw on this thing if EU or NA gets more votes? Maybe it's something Dive4ia can plan. We'll figure it out.
LoL Esports, go on Twitter, most like reply, we draw on it.
I don't know if that's the commitment we should make, but I love this. We could draw some art on this model that we have.
I wonder if Braves is going to get first pick. That's going to be my call. And I actually think next one might be Kalista to come through as well on the same time here.
Now, look into your crystal ball and tell me what comes next, as that Nautilus appears to be locked in, and it has been.
Exactly. So there's two ways you can go about this now. You can look to secure strong solo laners when Azir and Galio is still up, or you can look to match the bot lane that you know that you're going to get banned out. So the likes of Misfortune, the likes of Aphelios is still up there. And Raes is also one of these players that have been playing this Aphelios in the past. If you decide to lock in the Nautilus, it pairs super well into what Fnatic wants to do, is shut you down. And even paired up with the Aphelios, you can actually play aggressive with it. If you hit a Winter's Bite, there's a Saffron Q on the Aphelios, you just insta-stack up that stun. And you kind of get a kill lane going for you as well. So I'd actually love to see them just try and match it down there, because it gives you something to do in the early game but you also have the scaling aspect, so you don't have to be too stressed about making the early game work for you.
Man, wouldn't that be crazy to watch Raes taking on upset? And
I'd love it.
Hopefully working out. A couple seconds left here.
Yes,
it's going to go the other direction. Why do you like Tristana?
So I really feel like Tristana is one of these champions that I hope would be played more and that we would see more going into this tournament. I know some of the Eastern teams actually still rate this champion very much, but the Q buff she had, where 10% extra attack speed was added from rank 1, just really adds a lot to the firepower. Usually, you would not want to see it paired up with a Braum. You want something that's a bit more kill heavy, but either way, I'm happy to see it, and I think this is actually a really underrated pick right now that I believe we'll see more of.
Well, fantastic lock in there. And the first phase of picks will close out with Viktor. That is a humanoid special. Extreme amount of experience over the past few years. The nod band away from Topoon. He's 9-0 on their champion this summer, so another great ban away. How do you see these drops now starting to shape up? Because we've obviously got that Graves locked in. And we're looking now for Razork's jungler in this next phase.
Yeah, how many champions do you think you can say for Chief that they have 100% win rate? Only having dropped one game over the season.
It counts. It counts. I mean, when they, what was it? 19-1, 20-1 this summer. I don't remember the exact number of wins. They only dropped that one game in finals.
Yeah.
You have to call me out in the stats, don't you?
I mean, it's your thing, right?
So you know I love my quick stats, dude, and I love that you're supporting me in you know, activating it.
Yeah,
because
it's
often the Braum.
It's like frenemies. I love the thing we got going here, Trevor, as well. So, all right, going back into the drafts as well, heading into the second ban rotation, you can clearly see a lot of top laners are getting it taken away here. And I'm wondering really what the idea is for Fnatic in terms of what they want to approach here, because they're banning away good blind flicks right now, which kind of indicates that you're looking for a jungler on 4 anyway. You know you're playing into the Graves, and then you'll counter pick on 5 instead. So Fnatic right here, they're just trying to take away all the good stuff you can. Having Trundle still up, I honestly wouldn't see that as a bad thing. And yes, that's another one I would have loved to see. So I had a bad read. My crystal ball, I put Maokai to be one of the most played champions. I really think that he's in a great spot right now. You're able to flex him as well if you want to. And having both Sejuani banned away, having both and the Ornn taken away, there's not a lot of tags you can default to from the side of Chief now.
Now, to clarify, when you said a bad read, we talked a little bit earlier about how Maokai could have been a high priority. We didn't see it for the first 4 games. Let's see whether or not Wunder can pop off on this pick, show off the capabilities of the tree, and let's see how it adapts over the course of the next few days. The answer from Chiefs. Swain is secured, and we're looking for the last option here to run into this Gwen. It will also allow Razork the ability to, you know, pick something that can potentially slow or stop this Gwen Swain combo.
I hope we get the funny interaction there is with Gwen and Maokai. I won't reveal to you what it is, but if we see it in game, I'll definitely call it out at the same time. And this is where you kind of can keep the flex going now. Razork, if he actually has been practicing that Maokai jungle, or if this was a takeaway where they just wanted Wunder on a facilitator on the top side, seeing as you already have a bot laner in the Kalista you know you want to play for. So not a lot of options left after so many champions spanned away. And LeeSin did receive a couple buffs. It's Solo Q, not the highest win rate just yet, but Razork nonetheless is going to be busting it out.
Okay, zoom out. When we look at these two compositions, how do they want to win the game?
Well, from the side over of Chiefs, like, once again, you still have some good team fighting you can have over in the mid to late game. You have good side lane presence as well with the Gwen. And as they already mentioned on Des, Topoon really loves to be on champion, had a carry potential, agency, he loved going for solo kills as well. And seeing Tally on a Swain just makes it easy. You're playing into the Viktor, they're set up as well if Graves decides to come around. On the other side from Fnatic, it's quite clear, right? You have your front liner in Wunder, you have 2 carries to play for in the back line, and you have Razork and Rhuckz who's got playmaking potential to set up the carry. It's very clear. I think Chief is in a position where they got good disengage, and they want to play out where they get engaged on, they disengage it, and then they kind of find their moment to get back into the fight.
Do you think this composition will unlock Arthur to dominate on the international stage in a similar or comparable way to what he's done in the LCO?
I think it's not fully that. I think they could have gone harder in it, and there was also easier in the past for them to do it, because quite often Chief would be the team that would pick the LeeSin Nami, and then all of a sudden you would just have your bot lane be able to move all the time. Or they would be the one with the Kalista, and they could move all the time. You don't have the same kind of things where you're able to move instantly, but he's playing the Graves, and he's playing into LeeSin. That's still very good for the side of Graves, and he's great in this meta right now, as we've already seen so far in the tournament.
Oh man, I'm very interested to see how well Chiefs will perform, as well as how does Rhuckz, the man on your screen, as well as Fnatic look in their second game. EU's already 3-0, looking to make it 4, and the Chiefs from the LCO are looking to shut them down.
I think we should make it 3-1. I'm down for Chiefs here to take this one. I'm really feeling this region.
EU under those. Hold the thought, because if you're at home, make sure to grab the exclusive Very NASA's Much Wow emote from Prime Gaming by connecting your League of Legends account with your Prime account. I call NASA Susan. Do you know why?
Because it's backwards.
Yeah, that's right. The oldies will know it.
I feel like the newbies will know it too. It's very simple up there.
Good boy, can you tell I'm excited to be back at Worlds?
I mean, I've been seeing that the entire day. No, that's a lie. I've been seeing that ever since we got here. For the record, me and Trevor, we're extremely jet-lagged. We really haven't gotten to the point yet where we're over it yet. So if we go a little off the rails into this, bear with us. It's been a long day, as for you, so for us. So we're looking forward to this one.
Can I give you a quick stat you're going to like?
Yeah,
I promise.
Yeah.
The last time that Razork played LeeSin was in the 2022 Spring Playoffs. All time, he's got a 60% win-loss on the champion, so we've not seen it this summer. And I'm interested to see how well Razork is going to match up here against Arthur, because we've talked so much about the impact that Arthur has for Chiefs. And you can see both junglers starting in the top half of the map. Topoon will be a little bit late to lane there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's interesting to see how they'll be enabled by the laners. I mean, more so from the side of Chiefs, because Razork, he will have times where lanes will move. But on the LeeSin, you quite often look to get that level 6 and then see if you can start to commit some plays, especially when you're playing into the Graves. You don't really win those skirmishes if they suddenly meet up. So I think from the side of Arthur, if he can mess around with Razork as much as possible pre-6, that's great. And honestly, another thing I'm always almost willing to give Jojo down here a little eagle to a bonus point. The fact that we have this is cool. I like this.
I love the tri-lane camera. We saw the engage there from Rhuckz, getting that dredge line onto Aladoric and getting a little bit of chip damage. Humanoid and Wunder, on the other hand, they've been bullied and pushed back once again. Rhuckz and upset going in. The exhaust and the cleanse popped. Aladoric forced to flash to safety, and the Rainbow won't pick up the kill. But 2 summoners for 2, and up in the top lane, Wunder's being bullied by the Snip Snip.
Yeah, so you can definitely see who's the weak side and who's the strong side here from both sides of the team. And actually, Wunder being this low, normally it would be quite dangerous, but because Arthur has decided to path down towards the bot side, he won't really be in a position where you're looking for a dive, right? And another thing you asked me about was like, how is Arthur going to get enabled by the laners? I think you can already see it now. Bot lane is completely pushed in, which actually allows Razork to get a bit aggressive, see if he can get some intel. He's been found out, he's been pinged, and he'll see Arthur now as well.
Yeah, Arthur's going to be able to just dash over the wall. Tally was running a little low, about 60% HP, before he got chunked out there, and I just turned away for a second. Did Razork flash over the wall?
Yeah, so he definitely did, and that's just a wave bouncing back from the bottom side. He already used his Warthog, but just like that, forced to flash out. It's okay, he won't need it until he's level 6, it's fine, but it does create a point of attack, to be serious, from the side of Chiefs.
Yeah, of course, whether or not Razork continues to play that invade style. It's only 3 minutes in. Took a quick glimpse, by the way, the top lane. Wunder on this Maokai, down 11 CS. He's going to need to farm up underneath that tower as best as he can.
That's the comfort spot for Maokai. Like, you just want to chill up there. You never want to be forward in lane. If your enemy keeps pushing in, you're happy about it. You need a few points in the queue, you hit that level 6. It's really in the team fights where you start to become that menace that you fear. So all Wunder has to do, it's soak pressure. If his teammates can drop a defensive ward across river every now and then, just so they know if Arthur's looking for a dive, that would be great for him. Rhuckz down towards the bot side, trying to freeze the wave outside of the turret, make sure Opposite can come back, pick up some gold and minions pushing in. You can already see the inventory looking good for Opposite, who got to have an early reset.
Yeah, of course, they're in the mid lane, taking a look at the different CS numbers. Humanoids plus 10 for now. Despite the fact that Tally was pushing into him significantly, Humanoid was doing a very good job of picking up those creeps underneath. A rocket jump away to safety. And it's been a fair amount of, pushing back and forth here, as all of a sudden, Humanoid pull backwards. Arthur stepped in. Here comes Razork from the side. Humanoid's held onto that flash, and he's literally able just to walk away. Not enough damage from either, and fighting into the minions, so hard at Grave.
Definitely, but you see the setup that works there with the Swain as well. It's super easy to land and never move, and also at the same time, at least one Dark Harvest stack was picked up by Arthur, which of course will exponentially grow over the course of the game. We talked about wards to have intel for Wunder, and really good wards coming out here from Razork as well when he just had the time. They now get the intel. On the other side of Chiefs, the wards are there, but they're more in the river, so they're a bit more neutral, and you won't always have the same intel that Fnatic, for example, gets to work with now.
Yeah, there we go. Humanoid teleports there back into that middle lane. And we're sitting at about 5 minutes in. Chiefs haven't been able to find any of those opportunities that we've come to know from the LCO. Not without trying, it must be said. Keeping my eyes on Arthur once again. He's back to wait, step back into his jungle. He's going to clear out those chickens. This time Rhuckz is already stepping forward. It feels like a fair amount of Fnatic time spent in like a minute or two, just stepping in, checking out the Raptor camp, making sure they see the timers, maybe keeping a bit of an eye on Arthur, respecting the impact he's had.
Oh, you most definitely have to. Aladoric goes. He caught out.
Yes, indeed. Gets booped on the head by Nautilus. Continues to get chunked down and not going to chase further. Seems that the Empire puts some damage down, but there's just not enough burst from Razork this early on. And both teams, you know, just fishing, trying to force an error, not being able to complete it.
Yeah, the boop's not really doing that big of a
Nope,
damage with
it
that.
never does.
Yeah.
It never does.
It's not really that big hammer you're looking for, an anchorage to get. It's more like the one that makes squishy noises at this point in the game when you finally hit it in.
It's the squeaky children's toys.
Exactly. Now, both junglers are down on the bot side, so depending on how they really communicate this one to play out with, we could see a play coming through. And yeah, Arthur is in a position to be in counter game position.
Rhuckz is going to be so happy that Dredge Line didn't connect. I don't know if he saw Arthur or not. Maybe just as he stepped forward. The rocket jump got Raes away to safety. And that top lane CS difference is now becoming less and less significant. Humanoid's thrown down the Chaos Storm, continues to tick away, forces the flash. He's still got a significant lead in the middle lane and going to be very, very happy with that trade.
Humanoid today on this Viktor has really been showing up, and I think that's great to see when he's had so much criticism over the course of playoff. Raes.
3, stunned up, Upset's able to escape for now. Still got flash, still got cleanse, Razork, Sonic Wave, as well as the resonating strike, and dashes back to Upset, pops the shield down. Don't want to step into that end of the line. So much damage can come out.
Yeah, we talked about the action that might happen on the bot side. This matchup as well is just so explosive if it ever really connects here. Ooh, good gravity field as well from Humanoid.
Use the Sith Lightning. Tally's not going to be able to do more than that. But there's a lot of trading this game, Gulborg. Almost every single lane, and once again, we take a look top. One's going to use that Bramble Smash. Are you a little bit surprised by this in terms of just how much poking and trading there has been, or did you expect it?
I'm really not. And once again, it kind of speaks to how Chief is looking to be aggressive as well. Fnatic was one of the most early game driven team in terms of a gold lead they acquired for themselves for 14 minutes. But Chief is looking to be an explosive team as well at the same time. They can really not be underestimated. So I do like to see that both junglers are mimicking each other. They're looking for the same place. They're really not just looking to back down in this game.
No, they're not. I mean, I want to put some numbers to this again, actual meaningful ones, so I don't think I can call them quick stats. We'll get to that in a second, actually, because Razork, can he taxi over W to Wunder, lend the Q and the minis, he's holding on to it. There's no support for Chiefs from the river just yet, but there is a ping there, so a little bit aware.
So you're aware Gwen can be immune, right?
Yes.
Yes, so if you put down the immune field and Wunder's trying to W, if you get out of range, the W just cancels from Maokai. So it's one of those things where it's super slippery locking this champion down.
Even
it feels bad as Maokai and Vi as well for that matter.
So difficult. 8 minutes in, and it looks like a little bit of shenanigans around the Rift Herald. But I mean, like, else, you know, for Chiefs, 64% of the games they get first blood. 64% of the games they get first dragon. First tower in 80%. Their gold difference at 14 minutes is usually 3,000 gold. And right now, they're trailing Fnatic at 9 minutes. The only reason we keep talking and highlighting this is the first time seeing them on stage, want to draw some comparisons to how they perform regionally. And also, I think I want to give some credit here to Fnatic. They've paid a lot of attention to Arthur. They've spent a fair amount of time in that bottom quadrant of the jungle and made sure that they couldn't be surprised by him.
Oh, but you definitely have to. And now with the movements coming through as well, no AD carries have moved up, but there's 4 members trying to get their way into the Rift Herald. Humanoid is a little late to the play coming into this one. He's got better itemization though than Tally, and Insect comes through.
So nicely done. Kick, flash, Tally knocked backwards, Demon flares up, Humanoid arrives to the fray. First blood secured by Fnatic. The Rift Herald is being secured down to 1,300. Razork may be able to steal, no, little too late. Chiefs secure that one, so potential money to be earned if they can get a plate game.
That's the thing, that can still be worth for Chiefs in the regard that they can use the Rift Herald to really pick up a turret if they find the correct play for it, but great way for Razork to just jump over and doesn't even have to connect the Sonic Wave on Tally itself, just find a way to tax it to the minion. No flash from earlier, which once again, good credit to Humanoid who's able to force that by himself in an isolated matchup.
And of course, Humanoid did need a flash for that. He needed to get the Death Ray out. There wasn't enough damage between Razork and Rhuckz to pick up the kill without him getting there. Razork was running a little bit low. Ultimately, Fnatic had that under control. First blood secured, 1,300 gold up. We're 10 minutes in. and Fnatic are feeling very comfortable with this opening phase. I do want to again just draw attention. Look at that mid lane difference. Plus 36 CS and the kill to Humanoid. The goal difference is gigantic at the moment.
It definitely is, but it was always going to be like that. Once again, Tally, he's not so much an individual like man coming through to really gap you in the mid lane. He's there to assist his teammates instead. He's the facilitator of this roster that allows players like Arthur to get aggressive. But I will say though, so far in this game, a lot of it is going to come down to control as you're mentioning it, and moving into this, well, 10-minute mark with Umbral Glaive being finished from Arthur, they're actually going to be in a position to take really good control of the map, just due to the fact that you're playing against the LeeSin, which means that the enemy jungler won't take Sweeper. Because of that, they're not going to be able to take care of all the wards that a jungler you usually would. And that may also be a reason that Arthur can sneak his way into here. Remember, he's got Umbral Glaive, so if that's not pop, he knows he's not on Vision.
Can Arthur actually help his team? He's got that collateral damage unlocked. Looking at the minimap here, mid lane is pushed into Tally, so Humanoid can respond. Razork started this dragon off, but Upset and Rhuckz under a little bit of pressure here, so not able to find the opportunity. And once again, Tally forced away, pushed out of lane by Humanoid, who's having a stellar opening to Worlds. Not only is he having a great day, just reminder here, Fnatic playing with that sub. They're in their 10th World appearance.
Rhuckz.
Highest of any organization, and now they can try looking to kill that sub. He's going to be able to get pulled back, chucked back in by Kalista, exhausted down, Buster Shot to buy some time. Raes stays alive, but his flash and his cleanse heal rather is already broken. First kill on the board, 4 Chiefs, and it's Arthur that picks it up. Humanoid's got a Chaos Storm available.
Humanoid.
Death Ray out, looking for that shot as another kill secured by Fnatic. Chaos Storm ticking, but will not be able to chase further.
And that's the movement you get from the mid lane that allows you to get so aggressive down in the bot side. It was a good initial response from Arthur as well, finding the kill. But then again, the counter response coming through from Fnatic is great. Tally, at least in that mid lane, will be pushing in a wave. He will be getting some extra breathing room for himself, even if he even can get a plate here. But he's going to decide to move up towards the top side instead to buy some pressure for Topoon.
And this is a little bit of what we have seen from Fnatic this summer. They have not prioritized the Rift Herald at all. Razork started that dragon, which was kind of how the shenanigans played out before the engage on the bottom lane. Fnatic have prioritized Dragon over the Herald all season long. You'll see on the minimap there, Razork looking to go behind the pit before Rhuckz engages.
Yeah, but this is why you pick the Braum as well, right?
Yeah.
If you ever see Rhuckz get aggressive, you hit him with that Winter's Bite, and you get aggressive yourself there. Good counter response coming through, but I think it's a really crucial Buster Shot that comes out of Raes. He hits 2 people with this one, and Razork just gets isolated. He goes in for a ward hop to try and secure a kill, but no kick is available any longer, and you're just there to be left out to dry. And Humanoid now finding himself 1 versus 3, goes down to Tally, and Arthur comes back with a counter response from Chief.
Exceptional play-by-play, young man. No flash available, no Chaos Storm. So the Chiefs have found their bite. They've got their second kill. Their goal difference is literally insignificant at 500 right now. And Shelly's just been popped, going to start to charge up that boop. Visions of the Empire will spot out Razork, get the charge, get the gold before those plates drop. And now it is it doesn't matter, that goal difference. And to nobody's surprise, Arthur 2-0 on the team.
Yeah, definitely. And this is the guy you need to be wary of every time as well. Like, you need to respect this guy throughout the entire tournament. My goal after today's broadcast is next time there's a Twitter poll, it's more than 15% that Chiefs get. Like, get them up to at least 20.
Gulbog, that's not up to you, my friend. It's going to be up to Raes. It's going to be up to Chiefs. It's going to be up to them putting up a fight. Right now, Raes is getting chunked on and rendered down. Very well played there by Fnatic.
I'm willing to settle on 19.
Okay, plus 4%. That's what we're looking at. Well,
as long as the stonks are rising, I'm happy. But
that is more than a 30% increase on the original percentage points.
I'd believe you. Like, math is really not my
I actually think my math is wrong, but it sounded good. I delivered it.
Yeah, I believe you. I believe you. Keep it coming.
Look at this, by the way. 7 turret plates secured, 1,100 gold here from Chiefs. We saw the amount of pressure Wunder was under. We've not looked top lane in a little while. The CS is dead even, and this is exactly what a Maokai wants to do. There's no surprises. You were excited to see it picked. We didn't really care about it in the laning phase, but where do you want to see Wunder starting to get involved? They've got that TP up, you know, starting to look at the first half falling not too soon.
That's the neat part. You don't really have to care about him too much.
Yeah.
He's just kind of vibing up there.
He's just vibing.
And that's what you want. Like, he's never going to die. He's just chilling. And once you finally get your Thimble Winter as well, you get all the shielding coming through, you have your passive to heal you up. It's going to be great. Just wait for it. I don't have to explain myself. Wunder will do the work later. Now, moving on to the neutral objectives. Cloud Drake does go down onto Cheats. It's a late one at that. 14 minutes, almost 15 minutes being picked in. So if we do go to that late game and they want to keep the stacking going, we might be here for a while.
Nobody was allowed to leave lane. I mean, it's just they're constantly punching and jabbing one another. So there was no real opportunity for that to work out. But this is a good sign for Chiefs. I mean, the first 10 minutes started to feel like Fnatic had answers. But after that engage bottom, after picking up a couple kills, the Rift Herald, the Dragon, Chiefs are now setting up for potential gang. Flash is available for both Rhuckz and Upset.
Yeah, there we go. And I just want to say, play doesn't work out. But look at the vision.
Oh, that's the re-engage. Flash, dredge line, teleport coming as well. Here comes Wunder, the twisted advance forward. Where's the Nature's Grass? The trees start rolling. That's a root in place of one. Aladoric's going away for two. 1-2 kills for Fnatic as Aladoric sports some time and the death ray takes him down. There's one reply from Topoon. Take it, take it, take it. LeeSin not followed by Razork despite landing the Q. 3 kills to Fnatic.
Yeah, and they get the turret in bot lane as well. It's going to be the first one at that, despite not having that Rift Herald, but it just goes down to the lane prowess between Rhuckz and Upset. And once again, huge credit to Rhuckz again, coming in as support, playing ERLs, being an 8th place team in the Super League. A Humanoid finding Tally in mid.
Oh man, he's going to find the gravity field stun as well. Demon Flare charged up. Tally is getting the healing back, firing out the Sith's hand. Here comes Razork. Sonic's wave as well as the resonating strike. Pick themselves up the kill. The tower was secured. And I think that may be one of the biggest caster curses of the day. I was just praising the first 15 minutes of Chief, and then this happened.
But I actually like their game plan, because look at the vision. I was about to highlight it as well. Fnatic really get a bigger force.
Oh, we're right back in! That's a goodbye, Humanoid. Didn't get a chance to breathe.
No, that's perfectly fine. I'm here for it. In my opinion, some of the games earlier today are a bit too stale. I like some more action in there. So Chiefs and Fnatic really delivering. But with Humanoid now going down, despite having that teleport, that should mean that the Rift Herald should go over to Chief instead.
I mean, really, really great highlight here from our graphics and stats team. Upset 3-0-1 on that Kalista. He has been the late game insurance for a Fnatic as Rhuckz is going to use that Spider Nautilus to dredge line to the wall. Topoon stepping forward, throws out the needlework as well as the second, and the Herald was secured. The thing I want to ask, as now we're moving into the stage of the game, 2,000 gold up, in terms of team fighting, it feels as though Fnatic's comp is a little more straightforward to my eyes in this one.
Yeah, but it's also the intricacies how they work against each other at the same time, right? Because, like, even if you burst the Gwen down a little bit, she's going to heal it up a little bit. She's going to be immune at the same time. You're going to have a Braum that can kind of facilitate you. It's going to be very extended team fights. Healing reductions in this game is going to matter a lot. And so far, it's not been picked up yet.
Okay, let's keep an eye then on if that itemization is secured. And I think for Chiefs, I really want to see their positioning in team fights. Because if Maokai, Viktor, and Nautilus press R, Chiefs members are going to die. Tally's trying to use that Death's Hand, but Humanoid and Wunder literally just stunned. The amount of CC is, as an Australian caster would say, disgusting.
You gotta love the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Really,
I mean,
just
you
easy to
definitely
set it up.
love the
I
tree.
love that tree. Now, waiting on the top side, holding our breath for a moment. If they wanted to get aggressive, they're not so far. Vision is spotted by Arthur, and they're going to continue to play. They do have that Rift Herald as well, and despite it being Fnatic in a 2k gold lead right now, that can swing so quickly. If you get one pick on the top side, if you're playing on the top side, get 2 turrets with the Rift Herald, it's back to be dead even.
What do you think about scaling options here? When you look at the fact Tristana, the Gwen.
I think they're great. Honestly, I think they're super great to still have it, and I think even raid the Tristana into the Kalista where it's going to favor the Tristana. Remember, you get scaling range in the game. The later you get into this game stylistically between the 2 champions, you become better into the Kalista. And at the same time at that, you also just have super good peeling once again with the Braum. I think that's going to be crucial. But you can always just have them as they run into each other 5 versus 5 and see what happens. But League of Legends is a more in-depth game. Finding pick potential with the Nautilus, just sending Rhuckz in there, pulling him out with the Faith's Call. There's a lot of small things that can happen that can decide the fight. And we've seen it a lot today, even just like going back to the EG game, like Vulcan just flashing in, not having that flash. That was almost the entire game going there.
I mean, I think it's the crowd control is going to be so crucial, really, for both sides. If Upset is allowed to use that martial poise to hop, skip, and jump around, can run amok on several members of the Chiefs roster. And then similarly, for Raes, if he can use the rocket jump and a buster shot to reposition, they've got the tools. I mean, Chiefs, 20 minutes in, they're only down 2k gold. 8 kills to 4 is a little bit concerning because the Rage Blade is already secured for Upset, so he's basically half an item ahead.
Exactly, and the only one still at 2 items on the side of Chief, that is actually Arthur that we've been talking about. But it's looked like Chief, they just want to cross-map a potential Drake, but Fnatic sees them up there, so they're not going to move down towards the bot lane, they're going to contest them.
Flash, fight, already the kill onto Arthur. Fnatic throw a lot at that, but it will give them the control. The mid wave is being pushed in, and Raes is trying to catch that one out, but there's no hesitation here from Fnatic. Rhuckz leading the charge, and the squad following it.
Yeah, they can still try and go on Raes if they want to. Sonic Wave connects.
Wave, not going to find the Tempest Cripple to do a lot more. That Dragon's Rage was already used just a moment or two earlier. But remember, the kill onto Arthur allows the pressure mid, that allows him to get the tower, that allows him to get to the Dragon.
Yeah, it's one of the things that's just really nice to see, because obviously you could go for a play that's just, oh, it's a free Drake, let them just do whatever they want to top. But what Fnatic does instead is that they adapt their game plan. They attack the top side where Chief is trying to get aggressive, they find a kill, then they get mid lane turret. Humanoid even picks up the enemy Raptors, and then they get the Drake. It's not just finding one thing, it's finding multiple things, then leading to the neutral objective, and that's how they find themselves in a 3k gold lead now.
I mean, really good position for Fnatic. They've already picked up that win against Evil Geniuses earlier today. This is obviously Chief's debut game this World. Wondering what you think thus far. The early game, we didn't see the impact. We weren't expecting Chiefs to perform the way they did in the LCO against Fnatic, right? But they are definitely showing they can move around the map, they can set up the kills they want. Unfortunately, one or two team fights have gone the way they didn't want to.
Give them time. They'll get
Give them time.
I believe in them. Rift Tile, second Rift Tile has been deployed. Unfortunately, not like they really wanted to. You're not going to get 2 turrets with this one. I'm not even sure you're going to get 1 as it does go down. Razork needs to be careful if this connects, because if you look at the minimap, it's still a lot of Chief members on the bot side, and I think Humanoid is going to be aware of that in just a little bit.
Looking at the teleports, Wunder's got his up if he were to join, but the duo for Fnatic's in that mid lane, continuing to shove forward. I want to just draw your attention once again. Humanoid, 228 CS to the 156 of tally. This Swain that was picked in that second phase, unfortunately having a tough time. And remember, the Swain was picked into the Viktor as well.
Yeah.
And I know we've spoken a little bit about the individual player and the impact, but this is going to be a tough game for this Drain Tank to be able to do what Chiefs need him to do.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, he's still going to be in a position where when you hit that level 16, the amount of healing you're going to have coming out is going to be quite annoying to deal with. But I will say there's a few good power item spikes coming through from the side of Fnatic. Thimble Winter has just been completed and stacked by Wunder. Healing reduction with the sword chainsaw coming out from Razork as well has been deployed. So this is where, like, if you start fighting now and Chiefs is this far behind the curve, it's just going to be very Fnatic dominated. So I think from the side of Chiefs, if you want to stay in this game, this is where you have to get creative. This is where you have to find ways of winning the game that's not just from 5v5. And what is that then? Well, you're looking towards your side lane maybe, with Topoon on the Gwen as well, because isolated, he still does wonders. The only thing that would really suck for Chief is if Fnatic gets the Baron out.
Oh man, I'm clinching. It's Fnatic. They do have the rend. They do have the resonating strike. We do have that smite inside the pit. Baron's down to 5,000, the calls to peel. Dredgeline won't catch, but the Nature's Grasp does. Locks down one, everyone else gets hand behind. Tower secure in the bottom lane as that split push is on, but is it at the cost of the fight? Topoon's trying to run amok, and Upset is chucking out spear after spear. That Bloodline is doing so much work as Tally's escaped and Topoon has been pushed away. Humanoid, the advantage he's built up. Death Ray, Siphon Power, the auto attack secures it. 3 kills for Fnatic at the cost of Wunder's life, and they peel back to the pit.
They're going to go straight back to the Baron, but Arthur's still around. He does have that smite, he does have that flash as well, and he does have the mobility in the grave.
This is not
still
50-50.
hope for Chiefs, but Fnatic, they have to force him out of the pit.
This is not a 50-50. With the Rend and the Smite, the advantage is for Fnatic, and Arthur has been forced to flash to safety. There are so many stacks on that Baron. All of a sudden, Fnatic jump right back into the pit. Arthur's not going to risk this. Baron secured. The ability to play side lanes has now been mitigated. And Fnatic, once again, showing decisive play. They peeled from the Baron, they won the fight, they got the objective after.
Exactly. Valiant effort by Arthur, but even better, and pressure coming out from Fnatic as well, just forcing him away from the pit. And you can see straight up what the call is from Fnatic. They know to get the teleport. They want to turn immediately with the Maokai. Once again, great point to have the tree in if you just want to turn on them with the ultimate. And they just split up the fight completely. Topoon is doing a lot of damage on the backline, but it's nothing compared to what the Fnatic members are able to do to Tally and the rest of them. Also, Raes going down there. And then Humanoid. What a standout player he's been today.
Oh, such a great performance. Really, really well played. The lead that he's generated is great. And considering how much you love Maokai, I wonder if anybody out there is going to be willing to Photoshop Schoolboy Goldberg in your outfit today next to Maokai.
Goldberg.
Do you know the Whomping Willow from Harry Potter? Do you know that's the name of that tree, right?
Yeah.
So I'm imagining the Whomping Willow as Maokai,
Yes.
and you just standing underneath it next to it. Because you've got a lovely, like, just gone to primary school look, your little tie is really pretty, and I just think it'll be really fun because you're such a fan of the tree.
Yeah, you know who you are? You're like first movie Neville. That's like who I'm seeing right here coming through now. In the game as well, Fnatic getting aggressive with the Baron buff on the top side instead, pushing down on the tier 2 turrets. And right now, not the biggest response are coming through. Topoon's trying to handshake what he can on the opposite side of the map. But let's be real, you're in a 7k deficit here. Fighting Fnatic straight on when they have the Baron is going to be very difficult. I think the best silver lining you have now as Chiefs is the fact that these Drakes were taken very late. You don't really have too many Drakes stacked up, and giving over one Infernal to Fnatic here, it's not really going to break the game.
No, it's not. And I think crucially here, when you start to zoom out a little bit, we're in game 5 of the first day. This is, single BO1, single round robin. And for Fnatic, in the advantageous position they built, they still have to close this game out. They're being in a position where they could be 2-0 on a day where they had to play with a substitute. It's a great start for Fnatic. They will secure themselves this second Drake, the Mountain, and the Infernal. They've got 4 towers to their gold lead is up to 7,000. You're starting to see 2-3 items across the board. We're starting to see some healing reduction built into the inventories as well, and that Baron buff. I mean, all the tools are available to Fnatic to win this game, so it's their game to lose at this point.
Oh, 100%. As Chiefs right now, you're just saying give, and defend whatever we can, but don't overforce the issue. You need 3 items on the Tristana. If you're lucky enough to get it, 3 items on the Swain too, that's probably not gonna be the situation. You're looking at Arthur really to try and finish up that LDR, at least to try and find some extra damage to shred through some of the frontliners that there is. But as you say yourself, this is really Fnatic's game to lose at this point. And look at the structures, look at the jungle. They take away everything right now.
Plus 5,000 gold on the Red Bull Baron power play. I mean, that is phenomenal. Another tower being focused down. Not going to be able to secure it just yet. Topoon is being pushed away from Humanoid. I've noticed the last few engages, Humanoid is just hunting that Gwen. He's looking to push him out. 5-2-2, 3.5 items completed, 7 stacks on that seal, and like Topoon cannot find a flank opportunity. He cannot get into the fight because Humanoid's there waiting to push him out.
It's one of those things as well in the matchup is the sooner you can bait out the hollowed mist and just disengage and then start the fight. That's really how you want to play that matchup as Humanoid, and having first strike as well in this instance where there's not a lot of people who's able to touch you. Look at the amount of damage he's busting out even through the Braum.
Man, that gravity field was so close to landing. Tower's fallen, pushing the top wave as well. The bottom lane doing a whole lot for now as Tally's going to get some damage back, but Wunder doesn't give a damn. 2-level advantage already. I mean, Tally's level 14 to Humanoid 16, Topoon 15 to Wunder 16. Everything is just going up, plus 10k gold. And we're now looking to see how Fnatic just knock over those final structures. For Chiefs, it's been a interesting start. The first game kind of playing out somewhat as we were expecting.
Yeah.
And I do think you want to give some credit to how they try to set up those plays in the side lanes, but unfortunately, Tally just got bullied and beaten up a lot, and Humanoid, as well as Upset, took over.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where there will just be a skill discrepancy every now and then, and that's just a talking point, but let's see if they can shut down their skill discrepancy with Humanoid on the side lane.
Let's find out.
Infamous
comes in here. Humanoid has done nothing but walk away. Wasn't able to be held down at all. Tally and Topoon down to 50% HP. Fnatic, do they want to cut them off? How bold are they feeling? Wunder's got teleport. Level 17 pushing the top lane. 2 members of Fnatic were inside that red buff area, but the minion wave wasn't there, so Upset's brought this along, and it's just pressure for days. I mean, put yourselves in Chief's shoes. They have been fending off a Fnatic offensive for what feels like 8 straight minutes.
They're holding on for now, but the question is, how much further can you hold on? Wunder dives on the turret.
The Nature's Cross comes out, roots up 1 or 2. Wunder's going low. Aladoric jumps forward. Topoon does 2. No needlework available to him as he used that in the bottom lane engage. Humanoid's been exhausted, forced to flash for his life. The engage comes out, and Tally is dead. Add 1 to Fnatic's Tally. A fantastic Fate's Call secured. Upset with the triple, with the quadra, looking for the pentakill. Not going to find it just yet. Topoon's golden. Pentakill!
We're in Mexico. Upset gets a pentakill.
What a fantastic finish for Fnatic. Upset picks up the 5th and final kill. Hibbiter starts to be taken down, and the death timers are too high. The minions are too plentiful. And Fnatic will look to go 2-0 on the day with a substitute in emphatic fashion. Fnatic will take down Chiefs.
It's taking its time. Give it a moment. And And there it is. You can see it on reaction coming through from Upset as well. Fnatic starting out with a 2-0, and despite all the issues they've had, all the questions about this roster leading into the World Championship on the first day, they shot all the doubters up.
I mean, it's a really, really fantastic start when you consider the rest of the teams in the group, Beyond Gaming, Detonation, Focus Me, and Loud. After seeing today's games, one would assume Fnatic are going to be favored to top the group. That's how the expectations will be read out. I do think it's way too early to making any.
I was going to say,
like
you
that.
save that for your death segment tomorrow.
Way too
then
early.
you can start doing the overreaction. But so far, it's looking good for Fnatic. And thinking back to the issues they had in playoffs as well, the things that lost them games to Rogue, they fixed a lot of them. Yeah. Just seeing Humanoid on a control mage and gapping everyone, I mean, that's great to see.
I think it is fair to say, though, in terms of the game plan that Fnatic came in with, they executed it well. I was really happy to see the level of commitment in terms of all the engages. Rhuckz in this particular game, leading the charge on a number of those, like blowing the flash, landing the dredge line, and the entire team followed up. I know it's comms and calling, but it's great to see that player leading the way.
I mean, it's just a great meta for Rhuckz as well. One of the reasons he was struggling was because we came into an Enchanter meta. It's been one of the reasons a lot of support players have been struggling. But going back to support role where you have a Kalista and you can just send it, and even if you know it's an in-play, well, that's great. I'm just going to hold you out again with the Kalista. That's just great. You're not going to have to be worried about anything. And I love the commitment, as you said. I think that's really the word and the style that fits them. And I mean, coming in as a support replacement of LeeSin, I just think Rhuckz needs to die more. That's all I have to say.
Well, we'll find out exactly what happens. Fnatic claiming that win and keeping their perfect record alive for Europe. We're handing things over back to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you so much, Quick Shot, and welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk. EU, Fnatic complete the 4-0 here on the day. They ended with a pentakill as well, the 14th pentakill in World's history. It goes to Upset. He stepped off of a plane just the other day, and he's already...
This is the key.
It's just locking up a pentakill on Kalista.
This is the key.
Come on.
Forgiven had a great Worlds back in 2016. Last time it was in NA. I hear he didn't even review with the team. So I'm just saying, there's something about 80 carries.
Also, we got a Maokai.
We did.
Which I know you're a fan of.
Oh, I love Maokai. I mean, more CC, the slapping sound on the turret. Goldborg saying as well, you know, expecting to be one of the champions, you know, we see the most. Getting our first one. It's been great.
There you have it. There in the matchup against the Gwen. I do love the composition, though, put together by Fnatic in terms of, you know, getting Upset accelerated and then having plenty of tools to enable him in the fights, right? With things like the Nautilus, the Maokai, the amount of CC. I can't even imagine trying to navigate those fights as Chiefs. And they did keep it close up to about that 18-minute mark, and then Fnatic really started to wrestle it away.
Yeah, they did. It was actually, Quickshot had mentioned something, and I actually said kind of at the same time, Chiefs is looking good. And that was
the second you said it was this fight.
Yeah, well, no, this was them actually looking good, I believe.
Earlier fight,
because they turned this, every time you're trying to dive a Braum, you really have to know your damage because there's no escape once you jump into basically like the claws of Braum because they're going to get a stun on you. Humanoid actually takes, he had like a 50 CS advantage at this point, burns ult, takes a bunch of damage, doesn't get a kill. This is the fight.
Oh, yeah.
Where they were looking good.
And we saw, right, Fnatic able to collapse first. We see Wunder already starting his TP, mid lane already moving down, and just able to get to play before Chiefs gets here. And Chiefs overcommitting with that Tristana rocket jump, hoping they could find Upset, and they were so close.
I was going to say, that's them playing on the margins there, right? Because, of course, you heard Goldberg talking about it. The vision control out of Fnatic in that moment, to have the control ward there, it makes it so difficult for Chiefs to know whether or not that is the right play to be trying to make. And unfortunately for them, Fnatic had the call on it, had the jungler and mid laner roaming down, and they're able to turn the fight. You get to the team fight phase, and that's where you just kind of start to see the freedom that this Kalista has. Hopping all the way around there because of the front line, because of the CC that those couple of members are able to lend to her. She just has complete freedom to press forward, which is a Kalista's dream.
Yeah, and I think especially when you look at the champs that Chiefs has, right? Like, okay, Gwen, you got the slow with the ult. Braum, you have a bunch of CC, but Kalista's extremely mobile. Hard for you to land, like your Q on her. Even Swain being a little bit of the same. So Upset having free reign, but that damage coming out in the mid lane. Humanoid.
My eyesight's so bad. What is that number? 27?
27.4.
Wow.
That's almost 1K damage per minute because it's a 29-minute game. Probably the fastest one we've had.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely nutty there. Also, only 3 dragons picked up. This is just a pattern that's beginning to emerge. A lot of games aren't getting to that 4th Drake. Yeah. Right? And we're also seeing a lot of games have split dragons. So it's not like only a single team is starting to control it. So this is just something I want to continue to track throughout the way that play-ins play out. Now, as we know, every second counts. And thanks to the reliable Cisco network upset, definitely made every second count here on the first day of play. Picking up a pentakill already here to close it out and secure the 2-0 start for this Fnatic roster.
I believe I voted 2 or more pentakills in my crystal ball prediction. You had to pick 0, 1, 2, or 2+. And this is a good start.
It's a good start.
On day 1.
Actually, if you only said 2, I'm worried with how early this first pen. I would say 2+. Should
absolutely.
If you're a 2+er, you're probably feeling good right now.
We almost had that Kaisa pentakill early. It was a lot of close calls in the 14-kill game. These EU AD carries really popping off on day 1. Upset as well, doing it with the emergency sub support. Rhuckz. Such a good day for Upset. I imagine the emotional swing for him of almost thinking he might not be able to play in his 2nd Worlds in a row, to then having a pentakill on his first day. Amazing.
I mean, the whole of Fnatic right now should be feeling so damn good, right? Again, the fact that Rhuckz could slot in the way he has and really impress across both games alongside Upset with that bit of redemption. The organization Fnatic obviously trying to bounce back from last year's World showing, and this is absolutely the way that you want to start things off.
And overall, just, again, representing LEC and EU well. I mean, coming out now 4-0 on the day, great start. And, I mean, for Fnatic, them being one of the favorites in groups, having such, sure, Chiefs put up a good fight. Yeah. I'd say such, dominant and convincing wins was great.
So I know that we're only 5 games through the day, but with Fnatic now sitting in that 2-0, and given our earlier conversation about how EG was very much considered to be kind of the second the second team, the second favorite in that group. Are you starting to rethink that, though, a little bit?
Yeah. I have a visual for this.
Okay.
This is my Fnatic hype. This is my EG hype.
That's your EG hype?
It's really not that good.
So where's your Chiefs hype?
I mean, it's like...
It's even down. It's
a little crunch.
Get rid of the
Whoa, yeah, I still think EG is going to be able to take him down, but, this is kind of my current feeling.
Chiefs did put up a better fight. So I'm saying.
Is there anyone else in the group that we're not considering right now? EG didn't.
DFM.
Again, it's only one game. We still need to watch DFM play. And actually, we'll get to do that soon enough. Now, Mexico City is an amazing location to kick off Worlds 2022. As we head to break, check out the very first episode of 1+ Cam, giving us a glimpse into this incredible city.